Afternoon, David.
How you doing, dude?
No bad as you
I'm,
know.
s- I'm slouching now. Let's get myself up.
We just
Um,
spent 2 hours in the green room having one of the most interesting discussions we've ever had. She's a broadcaster, actually.
it has been an interesting weekend.
Uh-huh.
Not because not
Oh, by the way,
because.
happy anniversary, David.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank
18 years today.
Yeah, I got out of prison 3 years ago.
Hey, give me some sympathy, man. I'm on 27 years, going 28.
Yeah, she's wonderful. She's my
Yeah,
angel. She's my angel.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Well,
but it's
lucky for you, because
been,
I
been
ended up with a
interesting.
fucking nightmare. Mr. E, thanks for £10 super chat. I'm glad you got an angel, because I got a fucking nightmare.
Go away. Please, Sarah. You keep on saying she's a dragon. She's not a dragon at all.
Oh,
That's
that's got nothing to do with me, that's all.
um,
That has to do with her, the
but
children.
anyway, yeah, it's been an interesting weekend. I mean, all right, we've had Tumshy Trump.
Aye.
Was going playing a couple of games of golf, and he's getting all kinds of money for having a special Trump Cup. Uh, competition that's going to take place in the future at his golf
Aye, I
course.
thought that this morning,
Oh,
actually. You know how there's always money for these fucking silly
dear,
bank
dear, dear.
projects.
Honestly, man, why don't they instead of wasting money like that? And
Keep the children.
I think it's the British government that's going to pay this money for it, is it?
I don't
Yeah.
know. Well, there is
Well,
a way the Scottish government know.
yeah.
Right, anyway, another announcement, folks. As you know, it's after the 26th. I have to give you an update. David, as I said in this morning's programme, phoned me just before the programme, told me that the bank statements that we were looking for were in, and we could start getting the information out to you about how and how much you've been able to help communities over the last 3 years and how much you've raised and
Yeah.
where it's all went and things like that. But I had a busy day, so after the show this morning, I jumped in the car. I had to go and see a friend in Hamilton. That took a wee while. And I was back in Motherwell for 1,300 hours. Went into the bank at 1,300 hours too. Had to leave the bank again at 1,320. Still hadn't been seen. Shortage of staff. So I'll get the materials tomorrow and we'll start looking into it. And at the same time, in tandem, I'll be looking at East Lothian to get the money out because thanks to your guys' generosity, the Two Davies account sits, and I've got the receipt right here. At this point in time, you can see there's four figures there. I'll read it out because it's quite faint. At this point in time, thanks to your generosity, we have got £1,367.90 in the bank, of which over the next 3 or 4 days I will be dispatching £750 of that to the council area of East Lothian. Thank you, Duncan. You're a gentleman. And say every penny goes out to good causes and feeding the people of
Thank you,
Scotland.
Mr. E. We got a chance to say that as well. I think I think
Oh, David, Duncan's got you the measure of you and I. £10 for the rant and £10 for the feed the rabbit down the rabbit hole.
yeah. All right. Okay.
We're going to be polite about that, Duncan. Otherwise, we'd have tell you where to stick it, where to go. But for 20 quid, you get to have a go at it.
I think for the time being, I mean, it'd be nice to be able to raise more money, but the problem is we need more subscribers to be able to do that, right? So at the moment, if we pay like generally £750 across to three food banks each
Aye,
month,
fair council area, aye.
and keep whatever we've got in reserve for the next month, fair enough. If we end up with a lot more the following month, fair enough. But we keep that money in reserve for
That's right.
emergencies.
In case, because there is a cost of living crisis on
Yeah,
there.
the food bank. Sometimes the food banks find themselves in a real bad situation, and we need to jump in and help. So
Aye.
is it?
Like we did with S1 when they were going to have to shut the doors, we just emptied the whole account. We asked the viewers first, of course, I think we gave them £780 or something like that.
Yeah.
kept them going to their next grand coming. Charlie, you can't show your arse to the camera. I'm sorry, folks, but you don't like Charlie as he likes to get in and get in. But unfortunately, he's got this bad habit of sticking his arse in the camera.
Unfortunately, I've got this big eye that keeps on winking at me all the time. Yeah.
Hey, so Larry's in. He's just seen Charlie. That's Larry's tail up. So Larry the cat loves seeing Charlie. And Charlie loves getting in on the act, folks. I'm sorry, but he does. He really does. He's a wee. He's a wee. What do they call them? Photo bombers.
Yeah.
You know, the people that keep showing up the photo way up in the background.
He's supposed to do that, but he doesn't have two fingers he can use up behind you.
No, but he can bite the wee shite. Of course, he doesn't clamp his jaws. He just gives you a wee loving nip, as they call it.
Right, so on with the show, right?
First up, we'll get John Swinney declares his route to independence. Now, it has some merits, David, that needs to be discussed.
Yeah, I'm sure that the majority of our core viewers have read about this, but John Swinney's promise of like you give me a SNP majority, and it's like that's a route to independence, right? And the idea is that he would do the same as Alex Salmond did in 2011 when he came on TV and said, "I'm announcing a referendum on independence." Do I see John Swinney doing that? I'm not sure. I don't think John Swinney's got the cojones to do stuff like that. Well, I mean, do you think it would be a case of if they got an SNP majority, John Swinney would do like, please, sir, can we put, we've got that the SNP majority, can we have that referendum now? And Sam goes,
I don't think that's the attitude John would take in that circumstance. But what he is doing is
he's going to get told to fuck off. Something like that. Excuse the French.
What he's doing is taking the hard route. Now, there is merit in it because there's a precedence.
Yeah, but it's not going to it's not going to happen because it relies upon a majority for the SNP. At the moment, they are getting in a position whereby it'll be a pro-independence majority. It'll be Greens and SNP.
Yep.
Yeah. So that won't happen.
Now, of course, the mask will not change if Corbyn gets his acting gears infiltrate Scotland.
Yeah.
But now, we have to discuss the merits of what he's saying. Now, what he's saying does have a merit because there is a precedent set. If he can win a majority in Holyrood, then because of the legal document that was the Edinburgh Agreement, then he has a case.
Okay.
And as we know, the Supreme Court did say there are democratic routes out of this union, but they didn't tell us what they were.
One that we know, which is the plebiscite, and that's the
Westminster election is one we know.
Yeah.
Plebiscite, a Scottish election with an SNP majority is probably would be respected, but it's dubious.
Yeah.
An SNP majority in asking for a referendum or demanding a referendum because there's a precedent set, that's also a possibility. But obviously the easiest route is the one that the Supreme Court wasn't telling us a route, they were warning Westminster about, and that is a Westminster plebiscite election. Because there is absolutely nothing Westminster can do about that.
Yeah, because it's perfectly legal. It's perfectly legal at the end of the day, so that's it.
It would allow the Scottish contingency in Westminster to use the committee system that was set up after the Crown relinquished power to the Commons. And it's called the Grand Committee system, folks. You've heard David and I talk about it before. It's how they used to pass laws in Scottish law prior to the evolution. When the Westminster Parliament would set a law which would apply in Scotland, the Scottish Grand Committee would sit and decide whether they would give consent or not. And in the argument, we go to what was called the advisory to the Crown. And the legal experts would have their say, um, and the Scottish MPs would either get their way or be overruled by the Crown. And
Well,
the history of the
I
Scottish
think, I think,
Committee,
I think that what Nathan said, Nathan McAllister said, he's actually put up quite an interesting wee comment there. Stop playing by Westminster rules is probably the best thing that we could possibly do.
ignoring the 1998 Scotland Act would be possible.
Yeah.
Would be possible if it wasn't for the fact that Alec and Nicholas signed the Edinburgh Agreement.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But the upside to that Edinburgh Agreement, and there isn't many, but there is one, and that is that an SNP majority set a precedence. And you and I have spoken about this through the period of time where Nicola was asking when we had an SNP, when we had a pro-independence majority in the Parliament, they kept saying nah.
The thing is,
an SNP majority.
I would deal with the Edinburgh Agreement the same way as you had the thing that was constantly pushed at us. Once you said once in a generation, and I would say Edinburgh Agreement, fuck off. That was 2012. That was.
Well, to be fair, John in his statement did say a generation has passed. Anyway, our good friend Daily Blasey has dropped in. People look up Daily Blasey's channel, especially for the select committees, but the Friday frolics. The Friday 5 o'clock, brilliant. Couple of hours of just comedy and laughing at the UK and the political situation and the wider UK. Absolutely brilliant. And Sarah and I had the privilege of spending some time with Darren, his wife, at the weekend in Edinburgh. And I did broadcast the hunt for Darren in Edinburgh, but I cut it after the minute we met him because I only invited people to come along the hunt to find them. I didn't invite them to come along and spend the afternoon with the fairies, because that's just not on. That's tacky, Except for if it's one of the moderators or somebody that's asked me to come and visit, then I'm seeking a broadcast it, But it was nice to see Daily Blasey. He always promotes the channel, your channel, David, and that's very good of him. Right, anyway, back to John. Now, there is merit, as I say, in what he says, David. There is a precedent that's been set. Now, would Westminster respect that precedence?
Yeah, no, but the first thing about it is that he can be offering every voter an ice cream. At the end of the day, he's not going to do the first hurdle, which is getting an SNP majority.
Yep.
There are lots of things right now. It's not going to happen.
But the point he's pointing out, and he's pointing out to the electorate, and he's pointing out to Westminster, is there is a precedent set here. Give us that vote, we will get that referendum. And he probably will. If they win it, would Westminster respect it? Yeah. Under the 1998 Scotland Act? That's dubious. They only have to claim there's an anomaly here and anomaly there, and that would be it. It would be no, we're not accepting that result. Funny how it went the other way. When we pointed out anomalies, and the UN pointed out anomalies in the Scottish referendum, and yet it stood.
Yeah.
Right. So would the referendum route, if the winning majority, be respected? Probably. Would they find an excuse not to respect the outcome because of the Scotland Act? Definitely.
They can't afford to lose Scotland. The people of England look at it and they go, there's people in England still think we're subsidy junkies, right? So at the end of the day, it's like, for England, fine, we'll let them go, right? But the people that know, you don't want to lose Scotland.
It's not a case of lose, it's a case of we can't afford to survive without Scotland.
That's right.
The state that is the UK as an entity just could not finance itself without Scotland.
Also, it may only be a small proportion, but the amount that Scotland adds to the balance of payments, the negative balance of payments that England has,
Yes.
right, and negative balance of payments that Wales has, and Northern Ireland.
Well, at this point in time, Northern Ireland's starting to come outside Scotland because they're
Right,
actually
yeah.
market.
But we're still talking about Scotland actually pulls us back towards the positive.
Yes.
And that makes a lot of difference to England. It
Yes.
really does. If
It's
England
where
have
they
that,
get the wriggle room in their money in their budget, and it's where they get the ability to print money
yeah,
based on our assets.
that's right.
But let's move on because I'd like to criticise a section of Scottish society, and this isn't going to go down well.
Yeah, all right, okay. Well, please carry on.
It would appear that there's a significant percentage of the population that don't quite understand how international politics and international diplomacy works. And that includes those in the Scottish Green Party at this point in time. And it's about this uproar about John Swinney meeting Trump.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, I understand where the emotions lie.
yes,
People go, why is the leader of our party
and
meeting
our country,
up with Thomas C. Trump? We know fine well he's an idiot, he's dangerous and all that, and he's not an ally. And it's like, however, that's diplomacy. That is how it's supposed to happen.
yes. And if we want to sit at the big boys' table, we're going to have to eat the term that the diplomatic circles have been using for longer than I've been alive, and that is we're going to have to eat the honey flavoured third cakes, sit down and try and influence the other side. Be smarter, be brighter, be more reasonable, and hopefully you can influence that other nation.
Well,
Now, the fact that we don't like the
Trump,
leader,
Trump knows that he is the leader of a country whereby they've got the American military industrial complex,
yep,
and he can actually he could have a flotilla of boats in Clyde or in the Forth and causes all kinds of problems. They don't have to do anything. You just need to be there,
yep,
right? And that would cause the problems. So at the end of the day, walking up to Trump and saying, "You're a fucking knob, get out of my country," is maybe not a good idea.
anyway, apparently John should ignore Trump and let Starmer deal with Trump on our behalf. And my thought to that is no fucking chance. No. John probably doesn't want to meet Trump, but he is the adult in the room. He knows he's going to have to.
Yeah.
And that's down to politics and diplomacy. And that's when we're talking about these things called the honey flavoured cupcakes. You know, the sweet coated shite that you've got to swallow to find compromise.
Picture
And
the
David and I is an interesting debate about this because he's less tolerant than I am, more diplomatic.
I'm not diplomatic when it comes to that, but nice picture I saw this weekend was the wee Fanny, what's it called, the Governor General chasing after Trump, saying, hello, Mr. Trump. Well, welcome to Scotland.
Well, what's interesting is Murray's trying to stay relevant compared to Swinney. So he said he'd be meeting Trump at some point this weekend. It appears he's not. Anyway, Mr. E Super Chat. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. That's a nice quote, Mr. E.
Yes.
It most certainly is, and thank you very much for your generosity. You've been very generous today. That's your second super chat today, so thank you. But as I say, folks, I know it tastes bad. I know the optics are no great, but if you want to be at the big boys' table, you go to sit down with people you don't fucking like, and with nations who are selected leaders that you don't like, because their leaders come and go. The peoples of that landmass are still going to be there, need to be traded with, dealt with, made to feel part of an inclusive world in order that everything runs properly for supply chains all the way through to just being decent human beings.
If we look at a breakdown of diplomacy right now in the world, you've got the Congo and what's the other guy? Was a falling out between two previously good friends.
Aye.
The president of Congo and president was it Eritrea? I'm trying to remember who their country was. They're at war. They're at war because diplomacy is broken down between the two. Yeah,
Aye.
easy. You know.
That is the outcome generally when these things happen, David. But
Yeah,
as I say, the people who are shouting that John shouldn't have anything to do with Trump, we should shun him. No,
yeah,
John was right. Let the people make their voice heard. He'll deal with politics and diplomacy. Let the people let Mr. Trump know how we feel. And to be fair, David, the people have done so. But they've done it peacefully, they've done it noisily, and we'll go into that a wee bit later. Right, let's move on. Green Party's in meltdown.
oh yes,
Radical activists are trying to topple the existing leadership. And I find it quite interesting because of the effect up they made of the list vote, because it gives these radical activists more leverage when it
yeah,
comes to people like Patrick Harvey and Maggie Chapman.
yes.
Now, here in Glasgow, they're trying to topple Patrick Harvey. Up in Aberdeenshire, they're trying to reinstate Maggie Chapman, which is interesting. But
If it was a fiddled with count, right,
uh,
then the only way to fix that for the party, yeah, you might take individuals to task over it, but the way to fix that for the party is sorry guys, there's going to be another vote
yep,
that allows the radicals within that party to go, oh, what, give us a vote, then that won't happen, you know. Kind of,
right. Apparently, that vote was between the Congo and Rwanda.
yeah.
Right, but the Green Party meltdown is really quite important. There is a leadership election in September,
Thanks, Mr. It
and
was Rwanda. That's correct.
if the Green Party's new joint leadership can get a grip, they might be battle ready for the next election. If not, they won't, and that will put in danger the pro-independence majority in the SNP Parliament.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, a pro-independence majority, as you know, David, won't get us a referendum because we've had that for the last two parliaments.
Yeah. That's right.
And so that validates what John says, that there is a precedence behind an SNP majority. Will that wash for the greater public? Not fucking won't. Right.
Thing that annoys me here, right? We had this situation. We actually had Alex Salmond in 2011. It was a SNP majority in the Scottish election. And then after the referendum, where it was a no, we then had an SNP majority in the Scottish part of the general election, right? And,
Westminster, yes.
and somebody just had the nerves to say, right, come on, let's do this as a plebiscite beforehand. If you vote for us, it's a vote for independence. And it's like, there was, with 57 MPs at the time, I remember, I seem to remember, right? 57 MPs at a possible 59.
59, that's right.
That's right. And we'd have been in we'd have done it.
Well, actually, it was 56. We had one Labour, one Tory, one Lib Dem at the time.
Yeah,
Alistair Carmichael, Alistair Jack, and Ian Murray. That was the three remaining unionists in Westminster at
yeah,
that point in time.
yeah,
But because it wasn't in the manifesto that they could call it,
yeah,
it couldn't be called. Funny thing that, you know. But the Green Party meltdown is significant because if they don't interact together for next year's election, we could it could be a possibility that we have an SNP minority government with a pro-independence majority in the parliament to help them,
yeah,
and that could be a problem, a
yeah,
big problem. So the fight that's going on in the Green Party, folks, it's worth watching. It's worth keeping an eye on
yeah.
because it really could affect the numbers in the parliament. Because at this point in time, the polling's no showing an SNP majority, and unless John can get convince people the way that I like to convince people, then there's not going to be an SNP majority. We're going to need the Greens to give us a buffer to protect the people the best we can to Westminster and their worst excesses. Jeremy Corbyn and his party shows banners of work.
We had one or two comments about talking to Trump about independence, that sort of thing, and James Mason puts up, America will never let us become independent. Scotland is too strategic.
Not anymore. Not anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah. We still imagine you've now got an independent Scotland to deal with, right? Also, we're pushing the fast lane out, go, right? And it's like America would prefer not to have to go through that. Prefer just if Scotland stayed a vassal state of England.
Yes, of course it would, but that's beside the point. They would have to accept whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
You know.
But anyway, America, we're coming to that later.
Aye, we are. Anyway, let's move on. Murray Black leaves the SNP, saying there are other organisations I could give my time to. 2 days later, Jeremy Corbyn announces a new party. Coincidence or not?
JCP. Yeah.
Well, at this point, it's called Your Party.
It is only at the moment you're putting two and two together make five. It's just an opinion, right? But you might have something there. I don't know.
No, there they are. I'm just asking your opinion. I'm just asking you to speculate a wee bit.
I can see the rabbit hole for here. I can jump down that and be there in no time. Because don't forget, Mary's for Paisley. And it's like no simple. She's a rabbit hole next along. So yeah, there you go.
Aye, Mary is for Paisley, and she's only one rabbit hole over for you. But that's the whole idea of throwing this one up. And I hope that you were getting down that fucking rabbit hole. But I guess that's a fucking total dead duck. No, but it is interesting that a statement on the way out the door was there are other organisations where I could have more influence.
Okay, let's just have a wee look at that situation. Let's take that apart and give it a future, right?
Okay.
Jeremy, we'll still call it the Jeremy Corbyn Party, right? It's got 300,000 people that are ready to sign up as members, right? That's fair enough, right?
The trade unionists want to meet with them every weekend.
The trade unions are important because they'll provide the money to make the whole thing work, right? Yep. Okay. So we've had in the past, in Scotland, this is, where the people of Scotland thought, forgive them for this, they thought, oh, we need to vote Labour to get rid of Tory, right? In actual fact, it's the worst thing they could possibly do. But anyway, that's what they did. They vote Labour, get rid of Tory. Got rid of the Tories, right? Okay.
This guy here.
So what could happen? What could happen in the future is you got it wrong with Labour, right? They'll think suddenly, oh well, Jeremy Corbyn's now a good guy. We'll vote Jeremy Corbyn to get rid of Labour.
Nigel Farage comes through the middle.
Aye, exactly.
Anyway, Bruno, you're part of the problem. If Sultana says something in Scotland to get your vote, there's independence out the window, mate. You're on the wrong fucking channel. You're in the wrong channel, mate. If you're thinking about voting for an English party to achieve the goal of Scottish independence, you're in the wrong channel. This isn't the channel for you, Bruno. I can assure you that. You won't like what we have to say. Because if the idea of Mr. Corbyn and Miss Sultana setting up in Scotland makes you think it will get us out the door faster. I know Corbyn said he would respect democracy, but if they come into Scotland, guys like you leave the SNP vote, and the SNP can't win.
Yeah.
So this might not be the right channel for you, Bruno. Because if anybody watching this channel thinks if Corbyn sets up a party, you'll give his vote, you vote to him in a general election, then you're actually defeating the purpose of this channel.
Yes. I mean, who are we when it comes to that, right?
And we've just seen that in that last election, vote Labour to get rid of the Tories.
That's right. What
Fucking
it do for us?
stupid does.
Do for us? It put us in a worse situation than we were with the Tories, right?
Aye.
And you know, God love him. I hope Jeremy Corbyn does well. I really do hope his party
Well,
does well. Right?
England needs something fresh.
Yeah, exactly. The social contract that the people of England have with Westminster is ridiculously poor. You know, if you look at Scotland, we've got the prescriptions,
Baby box,
uh,
nutrition, free
yeah,
kids, travel, all sorts.
Erskine Bridge, Try Bridge, Forth Bridge, all free. You know, at the end of the day, and it's like the people of England, what they got bugger.
Nah, as I say, you know,
So I do honestly hope that Corbyn manages to get a good side together. But I would say to people of Scotland, we still need independence because it doesn't matter.
I would like
It doesn't matter if Corbyn's there, right? He might only be there for 5 years. And Scotland still needs independence. Scotland has needed independence right back from the start when the Treaty of Union was put up, right? And right to this day, we need independence. So therefore, backing Jeremy Corbyn might be a nice guy to put your vote behind. Not helping you or your family or
no,
your friends. Anyway, sorry, David. Please carry on.
no, hey, Stephen, put your big tool away. Apparently, the lion's getting a wee scare after. Anyway, you know, Mary jumping ship or Mary leaving the party is a bit disappointing. She was a big
Yeah.
firebrand and she was doing a lively debate, but it is a worry.
Of course it is.
Set up with this new party, but Corbyn is a worry. How much of the Scottish vote is it going to take? Is the SNP or the left wing party in Scotland? Or is it going to do the honourable thing and stay outside our borders?
Don't know. Don't know. I wouldn't think so, David.
No, me neither, but it's a question that we ask.
If he's going for number 10, it means he's going for the whole of the UK. Simple as that.
To address some of the comments, Jeremy Corbyn said after the last Scottish election, they have a pro-independence majority, they should be able to have a vote, to be fair. Wouldn't he say the same thing if he was in power? When the books are laid in front of him and he knows how big Scotland's share of the UK economy is and the difference we make to the balance of trade sheet, no chance.
Basically, whatever Prime Minister allows that from number 10 Downing Street, but it might as well just destroy the United Kingdom right off the bat. That's it. It's gone. Because England ain't going to survive. England is not going to survive. They're not going to do well at all.
It'll be a rough ride for them,
People of
David.
Scotland,
Goodbye.
people of Scotland, our culture is such that the people of Scotland, if they saw people in England suffering, they would want to do something about it. And bless you all as far as that's concerned, right? But we've got to be in a position whereby we've got our own paddles. We're able to paddle our own canoe. Yeah. Scotland's doing well. Fine. Okay.
I've got a puppy dropped into the chat. Corbyn is committed to decentralisation. We don't want decentralisation. We've got that with devolution. We want self-determination, not decentralisation. As I said, young fella, this might be the wrong channel for you with that sort of attitude. Self-determination is the motive behind this channel. and helping our fellow citizens. Corbyn will do neither. When he sees the books, he will not decentralise nothing
Yeah.
because of the mess that his predecessors have made.
Yeah.
Party after party after party.
Yeah.
But Corbyn is committed to decentralisation. Well, so Starmer, if you want to look at the way he's devolving all sorts of shite in England. Wow, children. As I say, young fella, this might not be the channel for you.
Daily Grace says, will Corbyn Sultana come up with a name yet, anyone?
No, but your party, which is what their website based on right now, is not a bad idea.
I think you should keep it as JCP, the Jeremy Corbyn Party.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, well.
Because obviously the party will outlive him, hopefully, for the sake of the people of England.
Yeah, I do remember one of the big gigs that they had where he went on stage and the crowd were singing to him, Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn. Yeah, that's over and over again. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of Jeremy Corbyn fanboys about.
Mr. E says Corbyn will repeat, not the right time. And I agree with Mr. E that. Absolutely.
Yep. Right, let's move on. The killing of Scottish aspirations, or how they're trying to do it. Now,
Yes.
David, there was a recent story that you and I totally ignored, but it came up again today, and we thought we would bring it up. And that was that posthumously, Alex Salmond was being investigated for another so-called sexual assault. Now, Police Scotland and the Crown Office looked into it and went, nah, nothing to see, move on.
The reason they did that was because, well, they couldn't get anything out of it anymore.
That's right. And
the guy's dead. Somewhere is that,
No, but the killing of Scottish aspirations came after Alec left office, as you know, David. Because what happened was Alec let the genie out the bottle. It can't be still back in the bottle, but they are trying. So how did they go about trying to kill off the aspirations of the Scottish people? Well, they tried to sully the names of the leaders. Alec was first.
That's right. Then came Nicola run off with 600. Her husband run off with £600,000 of SNP money, right? They bought themselves a Corvette, and I don't know what I was trying to remember all the stuff pushed against them. Absolutely ridiculous.
They bought stationery for the office.
Yeah.
And they bought a campaign van in the form of Carbonet, the same way Angela Rayner was running about in one,
But they're Scottish. They're not allowed to do that, David.
No, of course not.
It's because they're Scottish. Angela Rayner's okay. She's English. The English are allowed to do that and get away with doing that. But see, they're Scottish.
That's a criminal event for a political party to buy a camper van. Oh, the Labour Party buys one to get Angela Rayner to run about, and that's fine.
Yeah.
The SNP do it, it's criminal.
Yeah.
It's misuse of party funds, But and then
when you look at the campaign that was put up against Alex Salmond, right, where he was left with one single thing where it was not proven, right, and even at that, it was, you look at the evidence and you go, was it, and the worst you could say was the stupid bugger was a bit touchy-feely and he shouldn't have been, right? Simple as that. The next thing is Nicola. Nicola had a forensic tent up against the front of the house, filled with police, carrying shovels, looking as if they're looking to dig up bodies.
Yes.
What are we going to? What are the people? When are the people of Scotland going to wake up and go, hang on, that's number two. That's number two away, and that's the British establishment that have done that in both cases, right? Okay. Next one we've got.
Whom's that?
What
And then
happened
they
to
do
I'll,
the, they
I'll
do
let
the
you.
race car.
Yeah, go on, David. You carry on with Hamza because
Well, Humza and Dundee put the shit up him. He says, "Give me a majority MPs. I'm calling it because that's the only way they can't stop us doing it, folks." So what did Humza get it for? For being a black man, for being an Asian man, for not being a white man, for not being a Christian. All of a sudden, when he was sticking up for his family on the Gaza Strip, who were being mercilessly wiped out, all of a sudden in the rags, we've seen such outrageous headlines like First Minister of Gaza, Muslim, bad, SNP, bad, Humza, bad.
yeah.
And all because he had the balls to tell the Scottish people the right route out of this fucking
And
union.
then what happened to him? Yeah, and he started getting an awful lot of credible death threats
And
for his
his
family.
children were refusing the nursery school. His house was daubed with fucking graffiti.
Yeah, yeah,
At one point, he thought he was going to have to leave his homeland, Scotland.
yeah.
Fucking horrific. All perpetrated by the British state. And the reason why it was done, incriminate the aspirations. These people had aspirations for the people of Scotland. You have to decredit these people in order to dull those aspirations. And that's what we have witnessed, David, I, and you guys. We don't know if you're aware of it. It's why David and I brought it up, because
Now,
we're well aware of it.
one thing we can absolutely guarantee you is that, let's say John Swinney all of a sudden, in my opinion, grew a spine, grew a backbone, and said, right, to Starmer, you're having a referendum, whether you lot like it or not, right? And he said, well, what he would say is, he would say, we're not even going to wait for the next vote for the Scottish part, the Scottish uh, Parliament, right? What we're going to do is we're going to have a referendum, about maybe September, something like that, right? And that means then if we vote for it, we're off, right?
Hold on, here we got another
They
one.
would end up, they would find something on John, and that would be it. The same as
So,
next
Stanley Slim
man.
says we have issues to resolve and he would like to hear practical solution. There's something out there called the white paper. Most of us pro-independence supporters read it. The practical solutions are on it. Most of non-pro-independence supporters didn't bother reading it because it was 600 odd pages, covering all the topics that people said there was doubts about. But hell, that covers that. Alright, so you want practical solutions to the problems of getting out of the union. They've all been covered. There's also a new series of white papers that have been set out since Nicola Sturgeon started setting them out 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So it would appear that the people just aren't informed, David, because the media aren't informing the people.
Yeah, well,
Scottish government ain't informing the people.
media do let us down. Actual, I've got to say, the national do let us down at times,
You
but by and large, the national is the best of the pile. Simple
Aye,
as
the
that.
best of the lads. Aye. As I say, the way they go about trying to kill Scottish aspirations is to discredit our previous leaders.
Yeah, sorry, I was interrupted with what David said.
Aye.
John Swinney did something whereby he was now a real positive threat to Westminster and to the English junta, let's call them, right? They would find something on John Swinney. They'd make
Yep.
something up on him, and
Aye.
it's
He'd
like,
be a radical. He'd be a
yeah,
radical Christian or something like that. You know, they
yeah,
do.
yeah. Whatever they'd find him, something like that.
They say, but the point of bringing this up, folks, is the reason they're doing it is they're trying to kill the aspirations that these leaders have put in front of us
Isn't
and
there some,
kill our aspirations at the same time.
wasn't there something written about John Swinney a while back? It was a bit of a joke. Oh hell, forget now. Girl was John Swinney was born in America. He was born
Oh, that's right. Aye, he was born in America to a Polish mother. Aye, that's right. We were talking about
Right.
it a couple of
Yes.
that.
So there you go. There you are, guys. It was the beginning of a new narrative.
And
Eh?
this was AI written novel, AI written biographies of these people, or
Yeah,
biographies of
yeah,
Nicholas Sturgeon, Humza Yusuf, and John Swinney,
yeah.
and they all were factually incorrect when it came to origin and family. None of them were Scottish. They portrayed Humza, of course, as being Pakistani, even though he was born in fucking Falk. You couldn't make it up. Really funny stuff. Anyway, folks, the reason why we brought that up is the killing of Scottish aspirations. Discrediting our leaders is how they're trying to kill off our aspirations for independence.
Yeah, and I think when you get somebody saying, "Oh, I didn't like that Nicola Sturgeon. She stole all that money and all the rest of it," right? You've got to. She's not been charged at all. She's never been charged, and is that getting on for like 2.5, 3 years now,
Aye.
right? And you've got to. Sometimes I know it seems daft. The lass is gone now. She's no longer part of our legislature, right? But you still got to stick up for her.
Aye.
And in sticking up for her, you're sticking up for Scotland.
But as you say, that's how they kill their aspirations, right? Let's move on. Trump protests in Scotland set the Heather on fire. 100% ignored by the mainstream media. But as an issue in the international press, the international coverage shows a different story. Protests on Saturday at the Edinburgh Consulate in Edinburgh. We were lucky enough to see some of the people coming back for it. And the Janie Godley picture with the Trump's a cunt and all that on posters and things like that was brilliant. You know, and of course there was also protests.
I saw as Janie looking down on everybody going, well done, giving it a thumbs up.
As I say, there was also protests, and there was protests in Edinburgh, Glasgow, Turnberry, and in Aberdeen at the weekend. Not a word anywhere about it in the mainstream media. Nothing.
They're all instructed to keep still, right?
And if you look at the coverage today in the press, David, especially in the mainstream media, Sky, BBC, and all that, it's all positive. You know, it's
The,
all
the
positive.
thing about it is, I mean, our police are going to pay for this. They're going to pay for the help they were sent. You know,
They were an interesting one, not just as Police Scotland paid for the operation, but the individual forces that had to gear up their officers. The Home Office no compensating them either. They're having to pay their own fucking wages. Who ever heard of such a thing?
crazy. It's like crazy.
Right?
What's happening in the Home Office? I mean, first off, the Home Office, the proscribing the Palestine action, and you think to yourself, but they're a protest group, right? What are you doing prescribing them as a terrorist group? They're not terrorists, right? And then you've got a situation like this where the Home Office, yet again, have to send police up to help out Police Scotland for a huge operation, and then all gets charged back to
The Home
Scotland as the Home Office of the United Kingdom. You know,
They should have done. Anyway, but as I say, the international coverage is brilliant. It really is. CNN, the Midas Touch, all the big networks in America are showing the protests. All the networks right across Europe are showing the protests. The only place you're not seeing them is here. The same way we don't see Palestinian protests, we don't see the BBC protests that happened down in London. 1.5 million people outside the BBC in London, and they couldn't turn their cameras on.
yeah.
We had the same thing at the BBC protests in Glasgow. Not a single camera on us.
Ah, so,
What was on their website today,
plenty
the
plenty
next
of
day,
cameras. There's
I
plenty,
was
David, there's plenty of cameras, but you've got to go on social media to find
aye,
it.
aye.
So is that.
But here's the thing, David. I mean, there were multiple protests outside the BBC in Scotland. Not one of them were broadcast. And then when it came to us, what did they say on the website? that I refused to speak to him after the reporter came out and spoke to me for an hour and a half and I bought him fucking lunch.
Yeah, when I got that lad that said he was security, I tell you what, he had the words MI5 dripping off him, right?
Right.
And he said to me, he says, come on in, we'll have a chat." And I just said to him, "Inappropriate."
Right,
Go
David, we don't have the time for the videos anymore we're going to play, but Freedom Flotilla, the latest fucking ship's just been hijacked in international waters by Israel again.
Yeah.
No international outreach.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's like,
Sorry, no international press outrage. The ordinary people are outraged because we know it was on that boat.
yeah, well,
And
there was
how
two
specific was on Davies?
Al Jazeera reporters, and the video that you've got of them actually like standing with their hands like that, they've got their
Yep,
life jackets on, and they're sounding like that, right? That is Al Jazeera. That's a wee camera Al Jazeera put up on the wall somewhere, right?
right.
And at the end of that uh, clip, if you like, is where the Israeli soldiers grab the camera and throw it to the ground. Something like that, you know.
Yep. Now, we don't have time to get into these ones, but we're just going to run through them quickly, right? We've got a latest Freedom Flotilla hijacked in international water. Trump tells Netanyahu to just kill them all.
What about the whistleblower? That I figure is actually very important because
I know. David,
whistleblower is a chap that
hold
was
on. I'll see we'll put this one up. I think
yeah,
it's only a couple of minutes long.
yeah, go on. Is that the Jeremy Bowden? Jeremy Bowden,
Aye,
right?
this one. Right,
Jeremy
okay.
Bowden is a Welsh. He's from Wales. He's a very old BBC correspondent. He ended up international editor for the BBC. And why has he done this? Well, he was diagnosed with cancer a few years back. I don't know if that's got a bearing on it, but certainly he is all out, all out. He makes a funny, if you like, about being unbiased. But well,
Here you go, folks. I'm going to
he's,
play this. It's only 4
he's
minutes.
come out for Palestine.
David,
So,
4 minutes.
right.
Israelis come here to look at the war, only a few miles away. It was hazy, so it was hard to see, and the steady sound of Israeli artillery was carried away on the wind. Since my last visit, vending machines have been installed if anyone needs refreshment. From here, it feels like looking out of one world into another, not distant, but remote and isolated. So, from up here, there are essentially two visions of what's happening in that world. Israel, supported by the United States, says there's plenty of food in Gaza, and if people are going hungry, that's because Hamas has been stealing it and because the UN and others have not been distributing it in the way that they should be. Now, the other version, which is supported by Western governments, including Britain and France, and by aid agencies with decades of experience of operating in war zones, is that Israel's restrictions on the entry and the movement of food and other essential items in Gaza has created a humanitarian catastrophe that means that now people aren't just going hungry. The vulnerable, children, are starving to death. This is not a battlefield, though it might look like one. It's a food distribution point in Gaza. Bullets are kicking at the sand as men wait to get food. It's one of 4 sites run by the so-called Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, a joint Israeli-US scheme they say replaces the UN and keeps food away from Hamas. This video is of the foundation's armed American security guards opening fire.
I think you hit one.
It was filmed by a US soldier who signed up for the operation in Gaza after he retired and left, he says, when he saw American colleagues and the IDF killing civilians. The soldier is Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Aguilar, a Special Forces veteran of the U.S. Army's Green Berets. He's in Washington. I spoke to him from a spot just near the Gaza border.
I witnessed the Israeli Defense Forces shooting at the crowds of Palestinians. I witnessed the Israeli Defense Forces firing a main gun tank round from the Merkava tank into a crowd of people, destroying a car of civilians that were simply driving away from the site. I witnessed mortar rounds being fired at the crowds of people to keep them controlled.
As a professional soldier with a very long career, what was your professional opinion of what was happening?
My professional opinion of how the sites were established was what I would describe as amateur. Inexperienced, untrained, no idea of how to conduct operations of this magnitude. That would be my most benign assessment. In my most frank assessment, I would say that they're criminal. In my entire career, have I never witnessed the level of brutality and use of indiscriminate and unnecessary force against a civilian population, an unarmed, starving population. I've never witnessed that in all the places I've been deployed to war until I was in Gaza at the hands of the IDF and U.S. contractors.
Based on the knowledge you have, do you think that you were a witness then to war crimes? I think you're saying that very emphatically.
Without question, I witnessed war crimes. I witnessed war crimes being held by the Israeli Defense Forces, without a doubt, using artillery rounds, mortar rounds, firing tank rounds into unarmed civilians is a war crime.
People can resist hunger for a long time, but in the end their strength ebbs away and deaths can rise exponentially, and that is what seems to be happening now in Gaza. Israel insists its forces have not targeted civilians. Now we have eyewitness testimony to add to the considerable evidence that they've done so as a matter of routine. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News, Jerusalem.
Now, David, the interesting bit about that was it was actually aired on the BBC. That's a change.
Yeah. Thanks go to Jeremy Bowden, right? The international editor, right? I mean, you look at some of the other premier reporters from that direction, and they haven't made much of an impact. This is Jeremy Bowden. This is Mr. BBC himself, right? Why the change? We don't understand why the change. We don't understand how it's managed to get out. But at the same time, the fact is, it is out.
Aye, it's out. And we've all shared it.
That's right. And if you can, if you any of you, if you want, it's on my timeline and it's on David's timeline. And please share it over and over and over.
So, David, there's a few subjects we didn't get covered today because I'm glad we got that one, and it's really important. That is ultimately important, folks. We ran the food convoys into Bosnia when the Serbians were trying to use starvation as a fucking tool of war.
Yeah.
NATO ran the food convoys in. And I'll tell you something. I've not been in the ground in Gaza. Thank fuck. But I take this man at his word. I take this man at his word.
I think we look at the Green Berets as being honour. It's all about honour and all the rest of it, right? How could anybody that professes honour in warfare do anything other than look at this and say, that's a war crime?
Charlie's a waste of Larry. He can't stomach this stuff.
Yeah.
He's got more fucking sense than that. Anyway, David, we're going to round it up there. We want to thank everybody for their kind contribution today. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it informative. I'm sorry that we ended in such a horrific video. That was supposed to be 20 minutes ago. But you know, David and I tend to get into it a wee bit.
Sorry,
and it's always good fun.
Sorry, guys, but do, for goodness sake, share it. You know, these kind of things only come out every now and then, and we have to make the most of it. We've got to grab them with both hands and make sure we're getting the most out of it, right? The still in all, we've got Starmer who is saying, "Oh, we'll recognise Palestine if."
Aye.
No, what he needs to do is recognise Palestine. Then we'll talk about everything else.
Aye. Aye, Ackies, I'll be on the chat tonight, 10 o'clock. If Mad Monk's around, drop the link in the comment, Hugh, please, in the comments. That's on Discord, folks. 10 o'clock tonight after show chat. The reason why it's 10 o'clock at night, normally on a Monday I'll be working, and most of the time I'm in about 10 o'clock, but after you know, chat amongst yourselves until I get in. You know. And David, you should come and join us. 10 o'clock's a bit late for you old fuddies.
Do you know something? Like 10 o'clock, it's past my bedtime.
Aye, you know.
I can't handle it.
Mr. E, that's enough. You've done your bit for this month.
Plus, here's something that'll make you laugh, right? It actually affects my blood glucose. See, if I have a bad night's sleep, my blood glucose is up. And it's all to do with the added cortisone in your body.
Darren, it was one of the best Saturday afternoons that Sarah and I have had in a long time. And Sarah was still raving about it on Sunday.
I came in and went to my bed.
You did, right? They're sitting in the sun in Edinburgh. Sarah had a couple of drinks and well, said to Darren at 3 o'clock, well, I was starting work at 6 anyway, said to Darren at 3 o'clock, need to get her down the road, she's done.
Stephen's giving me a nudge in the ribs. Time for independence. And
it's time to keep your eyes on the prize. And Darren, I wasn't kidding. You and the wife want to come back up, I've got a couple of spare bedrooms. All right, bud. And hey, Darren, Dave and I are going to get content output. Maybe have you on for a chat with your boy, okay? Right, folks. Eyes on the prize, independence. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 10:30. David will see you Wednesday morning.
May I, just before I go, may I answer what Marcus said? Mr. Milligan's on his last leg at that time. No, in actual fact, at that time I start writing, and I'm writing to sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
so, one of the words, you dick.
Come on, we were more diplomatic than that.
I'm not a diplomat.
That's why we try to keep you off air for so fucking long.
Don't say fucking Trump. Right, that's it.
Sorry.
Sorry,
right. Right, guys, see you tomorrow morning.